isolation was growing between friends, family, and fun. And people began to yearn for a better way to earn.
Okay, we've had SuperDraft Pro is the official fantasy partner of Caesars Entertainment. Yes, that's Caesars. This isn't your grandmother's bingo night. Imagine the exciting chance opportunity of Las Vegas. Bigger in the palm of your hand. And imagine the energy of the crowd and the love of your favorite game connecting you. And literally every single person you know playing daily fantasy sports. All while getting paid. This is SuperDraft Pro. And you can stop imagining. Simply download the SuperDraft, sign up, creating an account player, or create teams of players with a range of membership packages that suit your level of interest. And guess what? We know, and you probably know too, that this is a multi-billion-dollar industry with roughly 60 million people playing in North America alone. So, what's new or different about the SuperDraft Pro that's actually a game changer? That's an easy answer. And I literally mean easy. The SuperDraft app is super user-friendly, so playing is easy. So when you play, your chances to win can be easier than other traditional fantasy sports games. It's also set up to level the playing field with our exclusive patent-pending games, which allow you to pick the players you like and the players you trust. This is your draft, your way. See? This really is changing how the game is played. And it's even a game changer for business, because not only can you get paid to play, you can get paid when other people play when you become a SuperDraft promoter by sharing the app. Making money doesn't have to be a grind. Turn your business based at home into your home-based playground, getting paid to play, having fun, wherever you are. Because this virtual model is high speed and no drag, SuperDraft Pro plans to eventually capture the imagination of the world by going global with a simple, proven business that never sleeps. Join the fun. Play, get paid, and tell everybody. Download the SuperDraft and SportsBook app today. Available on iOS and Android.
SuperDraft Pro. Rated F. UN.
Okay, that's enough. You're done.
All right, so we are finally on the air right now. I am Shawn Stewart, and this is the inaugural broadcast of the S&P Sports Show. I'm your host, Shawn Stewart. This is the first time you're actually seeing me, time to see my face, by the way, because usually I'd be doing the audio feed as well. So we have a very great special guest for you is Mr. Kevin Bryant, as he'll be on the will be on at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you guys that are tuning in this inaugural broadcast. As you know, we are streaming on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch. So those are the three that we are streaming. And before I begin, I just want to say that the S&P Sports Show is brought to you by SuperDraft, which is the official fantasy partner of Caesars Entertainment. And then later on at 7:50 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to do the playoffs for the late games of the MLB. So you want to stay tuned in for that as well. And I am waiting for my co-host, Mr. Anthony Paulis. Okay, so we're gonna get started as well. Okay, as you know, Deshaun Watson has been suspended for the 11 games because originally it was six. So as I thought, I was like, it was like a whole for the rest of the season. The NFL Players Association would have like been very angry about that. So now you're thinking like, since you don't have Deshaun Watson with this while he's going to get suspended, you got to think about like which quarterback you should get. And I'm hearing that they may get Jimmy G because San Francisco right now don't want to hit that salary cap, which you don't want to do that, and then see what happens there. So right now, as I looked into it, like before the season even started, I think I saw Cleveland was five. See, right now, I'm looking at the comments by the way. Right? All right. I've seen some comments. Thank you. So, as I was saying, so now if you're the San Francisco 49ers, you got to think about what's the future of your team. And then you also got to think about Jimmy G. Now, Jimmy G, if you look at his record, he's not a bad quarterback, but it's just like, is that the guy that you think as going to the Super Bowl? Well, the answer to that is no. He's a good quarterback, but I don't see him as like a QB that can like make you go further into like the Super Bowl, just like they did in Super Bowl 54, and then they end up losing. All right. So this is kind of like a really moment if you're the Cleveland Browns, because if you're Cleveland right now, you gotta like think of it like right now. It's like, okay, Deshaun Watson is it, and you can't have Jacoby Brissett because we spur so much. He's not a legit starting QB. So this is not pretty good. So I'm trying to see where my co-host is at, by the way. And also, I want to give a special thanks to Evie Mux that has also helped us with this as well. Because I know a lot of you are familiar with StreamYard, but this is like actually, I like this platform, by the way. You know what I mean? So this is a very, very special platform. And with this eMux, you can invite up to like 12 people. So you can go on our website at sportsforamerica.com. That's the number 4, America. And then click on the banner to the left, and you can get started with your account as well. All right. So we're going to take a short break because I don't know where my co-host is at right now. So we will be right back, and we'll get back. All right. So please stick around. This is the S&P Sports Show right here on Sports for America. All right. There we go. All right. So that was a energy drink. It's called Nerd Focus. That was yesterday. And for those of you that don't know what's Nerd Focus, it's a different type of energy drink. So it helps you to keep on focus. And as of right now, it's not available at any store here in Michigan. So more likely, I'm going to have to buy a case of that as well. So it's called Nerve Focus. That will be on the Sports of America website. It's not there yet, but like if you're interested, more likely it'll be up on, I want to say like tomorrow morning as well. So I can't find my co-host right now. Let me try sending him a message. So as I was saying, so if you just joined me earlier, I was talking about like the Cleveland Browns situation on Deshaun Watson's suspension. And if you get rid of Jimmy G and put him in Cleveland because San Francisco's don't want to be on that over the salary cap, and then you put in Trey Lance as your starter, then you'll see it from there. So I believe Trey Lance will be all right as a quarterback. I don't think he's going to struggle as many people expected. Hold on a second. There we go. All right. So right now, it looks like my co-host is struggling to get in. All right. But at least I'll have my guest, Mr. Kevin Bryant. He'll be on the air in about 4 minutes as well. All right. So as of right now, as I was getting ready to prepare my show, there is a. Oh, let me turn it down. Oh. Hit by a copyright strike. We're hearing it. Okay, there we go. And it looks like I have my good friend Mr. Kevin. We're seeing him right now. So let me put him in. Okay. All right. Hi Kevin, how you doing?
Hey, Shawn, great. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Kevin, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
He is the author of Spies on the Sidelines, the High Stakes World of NFL Espionage. So you got, if I'm not mistaken, is that correct?
That is correct. Hey, Shawn, can you hear me okay?
Connection.
This.
Uh-oh. Let's try it again. Because not this is not good.
I'll fix it here.
Okay. Because I was like, wait a sec, that's not from my end.
Yeah.
Oh
Give
my
me a
goodness.
minute. I'll get it fixed.
All right. Okay. Okay. Because I thought I was like, hey, wait a sec. I thought it was from my end, but actually it was from your end. All right. All right. All right. Can you see me loud and can you see me? All right. Kevin, can you see me? I can see his face, but I don't know if he can like really look at me and stuff. And it looks like he doesn't have connection. Oh,
Okay.
he'll
How's that
probably
now?
come back in and then back. So right now, I just got a message from my co-host. He cannot get in as of right now. You hear me, Kevin?
Chat. I can see you. Can you hear me?
Okay. All right. So can you hear me loud and clear?
I can.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, my friend. I can see you clear.
Okay.
You can't. All right. We might So tell me what made you write the book.
Yeah, so I got really interested, everything that went on with Spygate. And then, of course, Spygate 2, when Josh McDaniels moved over and became the head coach of the Broncos. And at that time, the Patriots got caught. The Broncos got caught taping a practice of another team. And being a Broncos fan myself, I got very interested in that point, just wondering how much spying in the NFL actually goes on. So that became a topic that I started to research, and then that hobby kind of turned into me spending 8 years researching and writing the book.
Now, what is like the difference? So, how's the book is different from like the Spygate books that other previous authors have wrote?
Yeah, so that's a good question. There is another book out there that is called Spygate by Brian O'Leary, who I've spoken to. So Spygate covers a very, it covers one team, the Patriots. It covers just a certain period of time, and and that's it. What Spies on the Sidelines covers is the entire history of the NFL. And it is concerned with how teams conduct collection on their opponents, which encompasses all the teams in the NFL. So it's not just about what are the illicit techniques that teams use, meaning those techniques that violate rules or bylaws. Spies on the Sidelines is also about those techniques that are permissible, that are completely allowed, such as advanced scouting, which, a large part of that's film study, debriefing players that that switch teams, as well as those questionable or what some coaches would consider unethical practices, but that aren't necessarily in violation of league rules, such as using lip reading, right? Which is why all those coaches hold up play sheets over their mouth when they're talking. So that professional lip readers can't read their lips and figure out what they're doing. So Spies on the Sidelines covers all of that.
Got you. Now, I did see you said on the post that you were talking about the 1972 Miami Dolphins when they had their perfect season. Can you explain us about that?
Yeah. So the championship game with the Dolphins. The opposing head coach they were going up against was one of the real in the championship game that year was one true experts at identifying teams' tendencies. Okay, so tendencies, you can figure out somebody and advanced scout, which more.
Looks like we lost them, kind of.
So for tendencies, you
Looks like
figure
we
out.
kind of lost them on his end.
Yeah, so you figure out
okay,
by down. Oh, you got me back, Shawn?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah, so for tendencies, you're trying to figure out by down, distance, and position on the field. What's a team most likely to do? If it's 3rd and 1, 60% of the time, okay, they're running the ball. 30% wide, another 20% they try a pass play or something. So you're figuring out those tendencies so you can identify what other teams are going to do. Okay, so what Don Shula, the Dolphins coach, he knew, his opposing coach was well known for being able to figure out other teams' tendencies and to counter and to set up a good, defensive and a game plan because of this. So what he did was simply to say, you know what? He identified his own team's tendencies and said, you know what? Everything that we used to do throughout the whole season, we're going to do the opposite of it. If it's 3rd and 1 and we usually run up the middle, we're going to call a passing play. And he just completely changed everything that they normally did. And so every single time that already play for the play that they thought was upcoming.
I gotcha. Looks like we're having a technical difficulty on the Evu Mux. Now, there was another one you also said about the 1993 Broncos, if I'm not mistaken, because that was the first season under Wade Phillips. Because last season it was Dan Reeves and he got fired and Wade took over. I mean,
Yeah. So the one I was, yeah, right. So the one I was referring to there was for Super Bowl 50, the Broncos versus the Bears. And so what Wade Phillips and the Broncos did was the current study before the game to try to figure all kinds of records. And frankly, everybody had just been demolished by them. So, there were a few things that the Broncos figured out during film that no one else had been able to learn yet. One was that the Panthers' offensive line wasn't quite as good as everybody thought it was. They simply But if it is a impromptu run, more often than not, he'll avoid that.
oh boy, we're having some really technical difficulties with the Evu Mux. So, like I said, okay, here we go.
You hear me okay, Shawn?
Wow, looks like we're having some really technical difficulties. Like I said, I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, that are listening to this broadcast. I've never expected this is going to be happening anyway, by the way. So this is like our first day. Kevin, you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you okay. So like I said, I apologize for the delay like that, because this, like I said, this is the first day doing like a video for the first time and like heavens knows what. You know what I mean? Now, here's another question I want to ask. So, where does the line get drawn in the NFL, and how is it handled with the punishment over the years?
To spying on your opponents. That's because a lot of it is permissible, and some of it is not. And instead of having a rule thing, what the NFL typically has is a bunch of use to enforce whatever they feel is um, so of power to decide what is in violation of NFL rules and bylaws, and also what is and what they're going to accept. So there's far less policy than I think most fans would believe.
Gotcha. Oh, looks like my co-host came in because he had a little struggle with connection as well. So we're not the old. So how much of an end result of the game has spying had over the years?
Yeah, quite a bit. So what you'll see in my book, Spies on the Sidelines, is that a good number of championship games and even Super Bowls have come down to how effectively opponents can gather information on their opponents. And we're just talking about the Super Bowl between the Broncos and the Panthers, Super Bowl 50. And Wade Phillips being able to design using film study, this, and that had a huge impact. Now, obviously, that's a permissible technique, but if you're talking about like, spying on other teams' practices, that's been used in a number of times in a number of championships and Super Bowls where it's had a huge impact on the game. So there's no doubt in my mind. I would say in my book, I probably have stories about at least 1/3 of the NFL's championship games or Super Bowls that have been majorly impacted through collecting on other teams. So it's a very serious, very big deal. It determines who your Super Bowl champion is year in and year out, all the time. Yep.
Got it. Because I am a Cowboys fan, by the way, because I do remember there was the Washington Redskins where there were, I think it was like in the 70s when John was the head coach of the Redskins. There were people that were trying to spy on Washington, by the way, and there was a person that was used to riding on a bicycle.
Yeah.
What was that person's name? This was like in the 70s.
Yeah, so George Allen was absolutely known as one of those coaches that was willing to, cross that line and go into using those types of duplicitous techniques that most coaches, frankly, are not willing to use. But what I will say is that there is a long history of, everyone thinks of Belichick. Like this is something new.
Oh yeah,
that the Patriots just invented. But the truth is, this has been going on as long as the NFL's been around, and frankly, even before the NFL was around, because it all started with college football back in the 1880s. So you have coaches like George Halas, who is considered by many to be the founder of the NFL, and was the Bears coach. Vince Lombardi with the Packers. Sid Gilman with the Chargers, Weeb Ewbank with the Jets, George Allen, who was with the Rams and then later with the Redskins. These were all guys that were willing to cross that line. And let's not forget Al Davis, right, with the Raiders, because he's one of the most fascinating guys out there who was definitely willing to go there as well. But yeah, there's so many George Allen stories here in this book of things he was willing to do. I think one of the funniest ones was, he was always scared of any people up on telephone poles, fixing the phone lines, because
I didn't know about
rumor
that
has it. Yeah, so rumor has it that he sent one of his coaching staff to go learn how to climb telephone poles for the purpose of spying on other opponents, so George Allen was quite a character.
Gotcha right there, because I do know that George Allen did not like interviews. He was kind of like a Bill Parcells, where he just did like, hey, get that camera off my face. Yeah,
Parcells and Belichick both do that, and there's a lot of reason for that. So one of the chapters I have in my book is about the media and how NFL teams collect information on their opponents by listening into interviews, TV interviews, radio interviews, and reading newspapers. Because when coaches and players, they give these briefs and give these interviews, oftentimes they're giving away a little information, some bits and pieces that other teams would like to know. And it absolutely becomes a point of contention and with the media, because Bill Parcells would tell you, and I think, I can't remember the quote exactly, but he basically said, I am not in the business of giving away information. I am in the business of collecting information on my opponents. So, and so, yeah, he didn't like giving interviews, and neither does Belichick.
That's nice.
And it's smart. It's smart because, if you're talking and you're talking about your team, there's always that opportunity. And that's why a lot of coaches don't want their assistant coaches or players talking to the media, just because of that reason.
I absolutely right, because people don't pay attention to that. Bill Belichick used to work under Bill Parcells, so you kind of see the almost varieties between those two, but people don't pay attention to it.
Yeah, exactly. I think what there is, Shawn, there are, either coaching trees, right, in the NFL, and what you'll see is, take for example, Sid Gilman, who was with the Chargers. He is one of these guys that was doing a lot of shady collection techniques. Okay, so who's assistant under Sid Gilman? Al Davis. And then who idolizes Al Davis? Bill Belichick. So you see this history of this, of this learned behavior of coaches as they're coming through the ranks of what they're willing to do to collect information on their opponents. And it's a learned behavior.
Oh, absolutely, by right. Exactly. Now, what are your favorite moments in NFL spying history, in your opinion?
Well, there's a lot of good ones. I would say one of my favorite stories in the book is with Peyton Manning. So he used to go to, he was absolutely paranoid of the Patriots, right? And so everyone thinks, Peyton Manning's this outstanding guy, which I love Peyton Manning. He's a great guy, and don't get me wrong. And he was, extremely paranoid of the Patriots and used to drag his wide receivers into the shower room whenever they were playing at Gillette Stadium, because he was scared of there being a listening device inside of that locker room. But, Peyton Manning had his own, as much as he would tell you, say, all those cheating Patriots, he used to go to the Pro Bowl and buy Mai Tais, allegedly, for all of the Pro Bowl, for a bunch of Pro Bowl players. And basically for the purpose of trying to get these guys intoxicated and talk them up and try to learn some, secrets from them about their teams that they're, so, and it just goes to show, the book has a big history. It goes through and talks about this all the time where, one coach will say, oh, that dastardly Al Davis. But at the same time, they're using their own collection techniques, which are sometimes, just as tricky to collect information on their opponents as well. And so, it's something that's been going on forever. And, teams are always pointing the finger at the other guys, but at the same time, everybody's collecting on their opponents to an extent. It's just, what various techniques are you using?
And then also we got to remind people that it's not going to go away. Like you said, it's been going on since like college football years in the 1800s. So people have to get used to it because there's always going to be cheaters.
Yeah, and some of it, we think of it as cheating, but I always like to think of it like this, Shawn. A lot of this stuff, well, take example, a holding penalty, right? If a player gets called for a holding penalty, no fans are going to say, oh, okay, someone from the Chargers got called on a holding penalty this week, so they're a bunch of cheaters, right?
Right.
So what I say that because within coaching circles, it's often fairly acceptable behavior for teams to try to collect information or even spy on one another, like to spy on a practice. Because lots of teams will get caught doing this type of behavior, and the opponent will simply say, hey, they won't report it to the NFL. They'll just say, hey, get out of here. We know what you're doing here, and leave. And so it's one of those things that, a team may not report it to the NFL because they know they're doing their own stuff. And people that live in glass houses don't want to throw rocks because they know it can all come toppling down on them. Right? So while we as fans think of this as all it's cheating, Okay. Among NFL circles, a lot of the stuff that we would say, oh, that's cheating, they just go, it's just part of the game. And it's really, it's something you deal with and you move on.
Exactly. Kevin Bryant on the S&P Sports Program. Now, where can my listeners find you on social media and your book?
Yeah, so for social media on Twitter, I'm at Kev Bryant Author. So at Kev, Kev, Bryant Author. And then on Instagram, I'm at kevinbryant.author. I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. You can see all my social media handles on my webpage, which is spiesonthesidelines.com. And that has more information about, where, about the book, about me, where you can buy the book, and all of that. There's also a 30% discount coupon if you order the book through the publisher. And it also has all the different ways you can buy the book: hardback, ebook, as well as audiobook. The audiobook is currently selling for half the price of the other two. So if you're looking for a good deal, that's the route to go.
All right. Thank you, Kevin Bryant. Thank you for being on the show, and look forward to have you on in the future if you write your new book.
Hey, thanks a bunch, Shawn. Appreciate you having me on.
You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Kevin Bryant to the program. So looks like I have my Anthony Paulis. So how are you doing, my friend? Anthony? Looks like we have some. Anthony, can you hear me? Hello? Looks like we have some technical issues right here. So looks like, see it on the chat line. Okay. So it looks like we're going to take a quick commercial break. Oh, there we go. All right, let me see. All right, can you hear? Can you see me? Can you see me? And it looks like we're gonna have a quick break, right quick. So let's do that right now. So we're gonna take a break, a short break. All right, so as you can see, that was a commercial of one of our energy drinks that we will be advertising called Nerd Focus. It is a different type of energy drink. And looks like I have lost connection with Mr. Anthony Paulis. So in a couple of minutes, we're going to be doing the player props. So as of right now, Texas and Iowa in the Little League World Series, there is no score on the top of the second. Nobody on base with 2 outs, and it looks like that will be the end of the top of the second as we're going to be heading to the bottom of the second. So Iowa will be at bat, by the way. So once again, we want to say we apologize for this first day of the broadcast because we never expected to be like this hassle as well. Because yesterday it was working, but you know how technology is as well. All right. So if you did not hear, because someone did say a question that do we like soccer? Yes, I do like soccer. I did not want to forget about that question, by the way. So that will be on the future show if we do have enough time on Thursday show, because on Thursday show it's going to be all football, and of course week 3 will be the last week of NFL preseason football. So we're going to do that as well. So on tonight's broadcast, when we do the player props, it's going to be the MLB for the late games. And then on Thursday, it's going to be the not only for the MLB, but also for the NFL preseason games. So we're going to do those late games. So that way, when the show is ended, we can put those clips on not only on Facebook, but also on Twitter Instagram, and also on TikTok as well. So that way, by the time we put those clips, you guys can put in your whoever on your player props, whether it's like over and under. So looks like we have a issue. Hold on a second as I'm typing it. Okay, all right. So yeah, so like I said, so this is not as I expected with this connection as well. All right. Wow, this is not pretty too good so far right now. So, and also, is he here? Let me see. Let me see if he's here right now. Let me see. I thought I did see him. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right. I can see you. Because it looks like after this show, it looks like we're gonna have to do a test to see so we don't have to have a show like that on Thursday. All right. Anthony, can you see me? All right, hold on a second. Okay, I can hear the background. All right. Anthony, can you hear me? Looks like we. Oh boy. Okay, let's see. Try to check on your volume, by the way. Check on the. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is not looking good so far. Like I said, this is the first day, so please excuse us from this. So we have never expect this. Let me see what I'm gonna say. Oh my goodness. Try to go to. I'm trying to see where he goes to. Let me see. Let me see on a second. Hang on a second. I think you may want to go to sound recordings. All right. Let's see if it works. All right. We should. Oh my goodness. All right. How about now? Oh, probably go to sounds and then check on playback. See if it works. That'll probably be the issue. Because you'll probably have to pick on the audio. I mean, open sound settings. Excuse me. Hold on a second. Wait a freaking second. This is so ridiculous because we never expected anything like this. So go to sound, go to playback, go to as a matter of fact, go to recording, and then press. Let me see. Press.